and welcome to my Flagstaff home. Today I'm going to be talking about how to plant potatoes in buckets. Now you may wonder, why in the world would we want to do this? Well, several years ago I decided I wanted to plant potatoes, but they take up a lot of room and I don't have a lot of gardening space in my yard, and so I didn't want to take up the space where I would put tomatoes or peas or squash or any of the other things that I grow and put potatoes there. But also I found that this one way of planting potatoes in buckets gives you a greater yield than you would get if you just planted them in the ground. Now some people, let me just explain how some people do this. They'll dig a really deep trench and plant their potatoes in it, cover it with soil, just a little bit, and then as the plant grows, they take some dirt from the trench and put it back in over the plant, and then as it grows, they take some more until it comes to ground level. The whole idea of doing that is to get more potatoes. Now let me explain this to you. A potato plant sends out these little runners just below the surface that are called stolons, and at the end of the stolons, a potato is produced. So potatoes themselves are not roots. The plant has roots. They're called tubers. And anyway, so they grow just at the surface line, and so if you just plant your potato and call it good, you're just going to get potatoes right at the surface. But the idea of putting more and more dirt on it is that as you put more dirt in, the plant sends out more of those little runners just below the surface, and so you end up getting more potatoes. So if you can do that in a large bucket, then you get a whole bunch of potatoes. So I got these really big buckets from Walmart several years ago, and I think they're for laundry, like a laundry basket kind of a thing. And so they're really big, and I had my husband drill some holes in the bottom for drainage, and that's what I use. So in this clip, or series of clips, I'm going to show you kind of the process of doing this. I like to start my potatoes at different times so that they come to harvest at different times. So the first bucket I planted in April. I just did one last weekend in May, and then I will start another one in June. Here where I live with our temperatures, they usually take 3 months to come to harvest, and so I should be able to harvest potatoes in July, August, and September, so then we kind of have a consistent number of potatoes throughout the summer. So let me go ahead and show you those clips, and hopefully it will inspire you to grow your own potatoes in buckets. So here's the potato that I'm going to work with, and it's kind of hard to see, but there are different places where there are eyes on the potato. They're pretty easy to see close up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into probably 3 pieces. Remember, I'm only planting 1 bucket right now. I actually have this whole bag of potato tubers that were sent to me, and I'm obviously not going to be using all those because I'm only going to plant a couple in each of the buckets. So I'm going to cut this right now and then lay it to dry on some newspaper. So let me go ahead and do that. These are the 3 pieces I cut, and each one I checked before I made the cut. Each one has an eye on, at least one eye on it. I'm going to lay them so that the skin side is down. I'm going to put these on newspaper. This one has 2 sides that are exposed, so I'm going to lay it on the skin side. And then I'm just going to let these sit overnight on newspaper, and then they'll start to, get sort of like a little bit of a skin on the outside, not like this kind of skin. But that will seal it off, and we want it to be sealed off before we plant it in the bucket. Okay, so the potatoes were sitting out on some newspaper here for, I did more than 24 hours, probably about a day and a half, and they definitely have a kind of a skin formed over the cut areas. They're not juicy feeling anymore. They almost look like they have a little bit of mold on them, but I don't think that's mold. But, I mean, it doesn't feel like it on the outside. I think that's just kind of some discoloration. Put all 3 of these in the bucket
because I really want 2 to grow in there, and in case one of them doesn't grow, then I have 2 others, and then if I end up getting 3 really strong plants, I'll just pull one out. So let me go ahead and take you out into my garage to show you the bucket and kind of the method for how I do this. All right, so we are out here in my garage, and this is a big old kind of plastic laundry bucket that I got from Walmart. I actually have 3 of these, and you'll notice that there are holes drilled around the bottom and also on the very bottom for drainage. And what I did is I filled them with about 6 inches of soil. And then I'm gonna place my potatoes in here. And then I'm gonna cover those up with about another inch of soil, and water them. And I may keep this bucket in my garage just for the next week or so until the plants start growing up through the soil, because it's still going down pretty cold at night, and they'll stay a little bit warmer here in my garage. But as soon as it's starting to get a little bit warmer in the coming weeks, then I'll probably move it out into the backyard, especially when the plants start growing above the surface of the soil and need sunlight. So that's kind of what this looks like. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna cover this with about an inch of soil, and then I'm gonna go to the next clip and I'm gonna explain the process of how this works and what you do next. So the potatoes have been growing for probably 3 weeks now. They would have normally grown faster than this, but it was cold, and so I was growing this particular bucket in the garage. This one right here, as you can see, is coming up. There's another one. I think I can get the light. Yeah, you can see it poking out. So the idea now is that I'm going to take some soil, and I'm going to, let me zero in a little bit more. I'm going to cover a lot of the potato plant with soil, and so by doing that, the potatoes should have already sent out some little runners or stolons that the potatoes grow off of. So then when I pour some more dirt in there and cover up part of the plant, then the plant will send out stolons once again right at the surface, right below the surface of the soil, and more potatoes will form. So let me go ahead and put the dirt on. So I have now taken the soil and I have filled it up. By the way, the sun's at a different angle now. It was kind of hard to see in the bucket in the earlier clip. So I took soil and I covered up several inches of the plant, and then there's one, let's see if you can see this one, tiny one there. It was sticking up about an inch. It's almost completely covered now, but these are now covered to the point where the plants will send out their little runners, so the potatoes will grow on those. And then as you can see, there's quite a few inches of the bucket left. So each time the plants grow a little bit higher, I'll put in more soil, and then when they grow a little higher, I put in more soil until the bucket is filled pretty much to the top. And at that point, you just let the potatoes grow.
Well, that's it. So my potatoes, actually, the potato plants have had to have dirt covered on them another time since that video clip. I filmed that, the beginning of it, obviously, I filmed in April, and then the one that you just saw where I put the dirt on it was a few weeks ago. It grew again, you know, the potato, both of them grew again, and so I had to put more, and then as the weather gets warmer, you have to really keep track, because you have to add dirt to it more often because the plant starts to grow really fast. Now, how do you know when your potato plant is done and ready? Couple of things you can do here. At one point, when you get to the top of the bucket, then you're just gonna let them grow, and you're gonna get this big old bushy plant, and then it will flower. At the time it starts to flower, you can kind of dig under there, under the soil, and find what they call new potatoes, which you've probably seen in grocery stores. That really just means that they haven't fully grown, they haven't come to their full size yet. And but you can reach right under the soil and find some of those new potatoes. but you don't have to do that. What you do is just continue to take care of the potato plant. You water it. You don't want it to get too soggy in the soil, but just take care of it. And then all of a sudden, you're taking such good care of your potato plants, and then they start dying. They start turning yellow, and you think, oh no, what have I done wrong? Well, that means that the potato is coming to an end, and all the potatoes in the bucket are ready to harvest. So at the time that it dies off, then that is just about the time. I think you're supposed to let them sit and just let the plant completely die off for a little bit, and then you can dump your bucket out and harvest your potatoes. So mine are just getting going, but I should have a bucket that will be ready for harvest in July, and when I do, I will show you, it'll be kind of good in that video because I'll be able to show you the harvest of that first bucket. I'll also be able to show you the dead potato plant, but I should have 2 other buckets from May and June, and you can see the different stages at that point, so I'll share those with you. I hope this was interesting. Hope your gardening endeavors are going well. I'd love to hear about them, so I'd appreciate it if you would comment below. If you're not subscribed to my channel, just hit that little button right there. YouTube will let you know when I upload new videos to this channel, which is a couple times, well, once or twice a week now, I guess, and I do a variety of things. Some stuff about gardening, some stuff about this quirky little mountain town that I live in, and some other things like that. So I hope you'll come along with me on my Flagstaff home, and if you're interested, you can check out my blog at myflagstaffhome.com, where I will have a coordinating blog post that goes with this video. I will link that post below, and you can go over and read more about it there. Anyway, you guys, hope you're doing well, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.